All right, let's talk about some of these series. Starting off with the Wolves going into Denver and taking game 2, 119 to 114. I do want to say, Rudy Gobert masterclass down the stretch.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to talk about a player for 10 to 15 years before people start to finally appreciate one of the defensive GOATs. And he's going against one of the offensive GOATs. And down the stretch, he felt like he was more impactful. He felt like he was more in shape and had his wind. And he got so many stops that I lost count. Shout out to Rudy Gobert. How y'all feeling about this one?
I'm feeling good, too.
I agree with you. He deserved a game ball, not only for the defensive effort, but he then took advantage of him on the glass for a couple of possessions that I felt was really big for the Timberwolves down the stretch. The unfortunate part for Rudy, like most times, in most cases, the series isn't over. He's going to have to do that.
Yes.
3 more times.
3 more times, which is a very tall task when you talk about dealing with Nikola Jokic, especially having this type of loss early. We'll put that battery in their back. But I do think Rudy deserved the game ball. What was you taking this to, Mike?
I was gonna say the same thing about Rudy Gobert. Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle kind of emphasized his importance in that game. Not the craziest game kind of beforehand.
He had 2 points. Like, it was the best 2-point game ever. And he airballed a layup.
But the challenge for them was, he said, they told him, get as many stops as you can and do it without fouling. And you've seen Jokic have not the best, fourth quarter. Kind of moving to, so shout out to Rudy, but moving on to the other side. Yeah, I'm expecting Jokic to kind of get back into his groove. I think he started off not looking for his own shot, like he was trying to get a lot of other people involved, which he's done so many times. But I'm expecting him to be completely aggressive in this next game, honestly.
That's one of my biggest frustrations with Jokic at times, is that sometimes he really just plays offense very passively, because he is just, again, one of the best passers ever. There are times where, like, he has single coverage on, let's say, a Julius Randle, and instead of trying to take advantage of that, he pounds the ball, waiting for the help man to come and then spread out for 3, which, again, some of the times it leads to a Jamal Murray 3, so you can't really complain. But when you have halves at a time where the best offensive player in the league has 4 shots in a close game, it's like, oh, we know that you can score. Like, even in the last 2 possessions where he had the floater, and instead of floating it, he passed to Christian Brown. That's one of the moments you're like, Jokic, you shoot like 90% on that shot. You just take that shot and you win this game. And a supercomputer made a mistake.
I mean, early in the game, they were up 19 in this game, and it was kind of crazy. He only had like 6 assists, I think was his stats, and he hadn't really taken a shot. But they were still up 19. But those 6 assists had led to like 16 points. And it was kind of crazy to see that they actually just blew that lead so fast. Minnesota just chipped away at it and just kind of came back. And late in this game, Jamal Murray also was, y'all talking about Jokic struggled in the fourth quarter, so did Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray was not on anything in the fourth quarter. At one point, they both had 2 points combined in the fourth quarter. So, like, you can't win a game where Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray both aren't offensively there when you're talking about closing out a game.
You almost can, though, because they were right there. They were
right there, but you definitely need them to.
I think the last possession is the one that made me scratch my head the most.
Yeah.
The mid-range jump shot.
It just didn't make sense like, if you're going to take a 2 that from that deep, you might as well just take a 3. Yeah. Or you might got to get to the rim. Yeah, like, I think taking a long 2 is just such a bad shot for that situation.
I think a lot of the credit for me, for the Timberwolves, goes to the others. There were so many instances in this game where you got other guys stepping up on a night where Anthony Edwards wasn't, the typical standard. Still aggressive, still put a lot of pressure on the Nuggets. But Dante DiVincenzo hit timely threes. Julius Randle had a little stretch there where he was able to get some mismatches and try to take advantage. And then Naz Reid acted a fool.
Yeah.
Naz Reid got to it. Man, was that a sight to see. It was him and who? Was it Aaron Gordon? Who was he going back and forth with a little? No, it was Brucey B.
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown hit a 3, then he come back down. Jaden McDaniels showed his aggression, which we all up here love and have talked about for years. And in his post-game matchup, he said that's the emphasis. Go at Jokic, go at Jamal Murray, go at Aaron Gordon, go at everybody in starting 5 cannot guard. Go at them.
You're talking about a bottom 20 defense. It's kind of makes sense. Everybody can't defend.
I love the win, though. Very good win, to Derek's point, for them to have gotten down so fast. I was almost preparing to be out on this game, thinking like, oh, okay, they probably just – but no, they stormed back.
Especially with Ant tweaking his knee early in the game when he bumped into Nikola Jokic.
And it's one of them players that I've seen is very similar to LeBron. Was like he gets hurt a lot of times, and all of a sudden it's like he don't look that hurt.
Yeah, he like lace him up a little tighter, and he good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing I'm also looking at is Anthony Edwards he's gonna shoot better. Like I'm expecting him to shoot better and just like be more aggressive. There's going to the point that they can pull out that type of game with him shooting not as efficient.
Bones gave them some
Yes, he did.
some good
Yep.
minutes as
He had
well.
set for like 14 minutes in the first
Little
play.
revenge.
He took the 3. Yeah, fake little revenge. And the fans booed him when he first checked into the game. I don't know if y'all
I
saw
thought he was
that.
pretty good with the Nuggets too.
I think they hated the ending of it all. Because remember, he was talking a little bit.
Yeah.
Big goal star to Dante DiVincenzo as well. He was a plus 20 in a game. They won by 5, and he played 31 minutes. It's
Got a lot of loose balls, had a
nuts.
lot of
Yeah.
3-point shots, offensive rebounds. He was everywhere.
And this just felt like a game, especially early on, that like the Wolves were dead in the water. They gave up like 4-point plays in this one.
Yeah,
Like, and 2
yeah.
of them was just Io on back-to-back possessions on Jamal Murray. Like, okay, this ain't going the way you wanted it to. But when Jokic checked out of that game for the first time, that's when Anthony Edwards and all these guys became ultra aggressive with getting to the basket. There was no rim protection, and it was over and over and over. And that 19-point lead turned into 4 real quick. It's like, oh, it's anybody's game here. Back to that possession with Peace talking about, down by 3 with 10 seconds ago, long 2-pointer from Jamal Murray. And like, you hate it because there's better looks out there. You're down by 3, and it was over the 4-time DPO wide, like outstretched arms. Like, it's a shot Jamal Murray can make, he has made, but it ain't like it was a late. Sometimes you take that layup in a situation because it's wide open. It wasn't that situation.
It also wasn't 4 seconds left.
I think it was 11. Right?
Yeah, you had time to
Yeah.
like, oh, this ain't what
This
we
ain't it.
want.
Let me, yeah. And, you know, maybe you're on the island with Rudy, but what people don't know is that Rudy was the best isolation defender at the 5 all season long.
I don't think he cared about that too much.
How many times a year do I get to like really go in on full Rudy Gobert propaganda?
I
It
think
happens
you-
like twice a year,
You
so I'm doing
you
it.
deserve it for right now because I think a lot of people have been kind of off Rudy Gobert. Some people, like especially the people that love defense, they still always going to show him support, but he needs some credit. He needs some credit, and I was glad Anthony Edwards talked about too. After he got them stops, he said Jokic got all them MVPs, but Rudy Gobert got all them DPOYs, so it balanced out.
I think the hate from Rudy is like unwarranted almost at a point.
Oh my God.
You have been a person.
Hey,
No.
social team, please clip this. This is a big moment. If it ain't for the YouTube show, please clip this.
I think people get on him for things that he honestly has no control over. Like,
I'm listening.
What? What am I doing?
He
I'm
was trying
listening.
to tell you that for 4 years since we was in that other studio.
I've said this before.
Your argument was him giving up the
Terrence Mann game.
Yeah.
I just be trolling with that.
I want to hear what they said they get on him for something he can't control. I'm listening.
Like he gets cooked in isolation versus some of the best guards of all time. Now, Steph Curry was gonna cook him no matter what. Steph was gonna do that to anybody. James Harden, Luka. These
Hey,
I think
these
he
guards
gets cooked for the stuff that he can't control of, honestly.
Hey, you about to give those clips channels, the 5 of them that exist, you about to give them a free video. They're gonna just take all of the stuff you said 4 years ago when we was in that other studio, and they're gonna then bring this into it and just create a whole thing of you forgetting the things you were saying back in the day.
He's just a mature man now.
Okay.
That's what it boils down to, right?
Okay.
Are you a Rudy Gobert enjoyer all of a sudden?
I would say so.
What took you so long?
Nothing. I've always enjoyed it, but
My God.
Just lying
Just
now.
lying.
I've always said that he was weak offensively, but he doesn't get paid to do anything on the offensive side of the ball besides set screens.
I mean,
So why would you bring that up?
he steals really bad offensively.
That's what I said. That's what he gets cooked for, is when he has a guy my height on him and he can't put the ball in the basket.
I've never questioned his defense.
His airball layup yesterday is because he had a teammate underneath him at the rim, and he looked at the refs as if he got fouled, like it wasn't his own teammate right underneath him. You know?
Yeah, that's why I get frustrated with Rudy.
But even in game 1, he has 17. Like, you don't get a better offensive.
Yeah.
I wish that this was like the YouTube, so I could spend 20 minutes and trying to figure this out, like what changed. Because back in that old studio, my goodness, I feel like I was yelling at both of y'all about Rudy Gobert in that one game versus the Clippers.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.